Barry crawls ashore in Louisiana, weakens to tropical storm. Video by CBS News. New Orleans APU Barry rolled into the Louisiana coast Saturday, flooding highways, forcing people to scramble to rooftops and dumping heavy rain that could test the levees and pumps that were bolstered after Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans in 2005. After briefly becoming a Category 1 hurricane, the system quickly weakened to the tropical storm as it made landfall near Intracoastal City, Louisiana, about 160 miles west of New Orleans, with its winds falling to 70 mph, the National Hurricane Center said. But officials warned this. The Coast Guard rescued more than a dozen people from the remote Isle de Jean-Charles, south of New Orleans, where water rose so high that some residents clung to rooftops. None of the main levees on the Mississippi River failed or were breached, Edwards said. But video showed nearly all businesses in Morgan City, about 85 miles west of New Orleans, were shuttered with the exception of Metch's Donuts shop. Owner Todd Hoffpauir, while making donuts, Hoffpauir said he heard an explosion and a ripping sound and later went outside and saw that part of the roof at an adjacent apartment complex had come off. In some places, residents continued to build defenses. At the edge of the town, slideshow by Photo Services. I.M. In Lafayette, Willie Allen and his 11-year-old grandson, Gavin Coleman, shoveled sand into 20 green bags, joining a group of more than 20 other people doing the same thing during a break in the rain. Wearing a mud streak, everybody. Many businesses were also shut down or closed early in Baton Rouge, and winds were strong enough to rock large pickup trucks. Whitecaps were oil and gas operators evacuated hundreds of platforms and rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. Nearly 70%. The mood was sanguine in New Orleans, where locals and tourists wandered through mostly empty streets under a light rain or stayed indoors. More than 70,000 customers were without power Saturday morning, including nearly 67,000 in Louisiana and more than 3,000 in Mississippi, according to poweroutage.us. During a storm update through Facebook Live, National Hurricane Center Director Ken Graham pointed to a computer screen showing a huge, swirling mess of airborne water. That Barry was moving so slowly that heavy rain was expected to continue all weekend, with predictions of up to 20 inches 50 centimeters through Sunday across a part of Louisiana that includes New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Some places might. Forecasts showed the storm on a path toward Chicago that would swell the Mississippi River basin with water that must eventually flow south again. For a few hours, the storm had maximum sustained winds of 75 mph 120 km per hour, just above the 74 mph 120 km per hour threshold to be a hurricane. Barry was expected. Downpours also lashed coastal Alabama and Mississippi. Parts of Dauphin Island flooding closed some roads in low-lying areas of Mobile County in Alabama, and heavy rains contributed to a number of accidents, said John Kilcullen, Director of Plans and Operations for Mobile County Emergency Management Agency. The National Weather Service double red flags at Alabama beaches in Baldwin County warned tourists that waters were closed for swimming. Governors declared emergencies in Louisiana and Mississippi, and authorities closed floodgates and raised water barriers around New Orleans. Edwards said the barriers range in height from about 20 feet to 25 feet 6 meters to 7.5 meters. Authorities told at least 10,000 people in exposed, low-lying areas along the Gulf Coast to leave, but no evacuations were ordered in New Orleans, where officials urged residents to shelter. It's Associated Press writers Rebecca Santana and Sarah Blake Morgan in New Orleans. Jay Reeves in Baton. For the latest on Tropical Storm Barry, visit
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.